Sometimes when we're using fisheye lenses, we end up with some issues in the corners. In this case, I've got a dome shade as part of my image. The other thing is, depending on the fisheye you're using, like the 8 to 15, you could actually be shooting a round image. And round images are difficult to print, and editors hate them as well. So let's talk about a few ways to fix it. The first way is what we always used to do, which is in Lightroom, which is to go into a manual lens correction. And this is very distortion oriented, but as you can see, if I warp this image in or out, I can push those sides away, and it can work. But again, it also is going to create a lot of distortion. A newer, better way is to simply use the eraser tool that is in Lightroom. And I'm going to make a brush, and basically going to paint over the areas that I want to remove or recreate out of this image. Now, we are creating pixels that weren't there. So if you are using this for a photo contest or anything, you're gonna want to read the rules, because we're generating pixels that didn't exist in the original image. Now you can see it worked pretty good this time in the corner. The best way, though, for sure, if you have time, is to export this image into Photoshop. So if I go Photo, Edit in Photoshop, Photoshop is much better at the heavy lifting that's involved in this kind of image, of actually using AI to create new pixels. So what I'm going to do in Photoshop is I'll use the lasso tool, and this time I'll just draw a lasso around the corner that I want to remove. And I'm going to click on Generative Fill. And it'll take a minute, depending on the speed of your computer, but this is going to be another, and actually in most cases, it's going to be a superior way to get rid of your corners. There, I like how that worked, so I'll go ahead and continue it down into the bottom of the image. The reason I'm doing this is because I love shooting a circular format. But editors and picture frames hate circles. So this is a way to turn a circular image into a rectangle without giving up any quality. Certainly I could have just cropped in on the center of the image, but that would be like blowing it up. So I'm stretching out the pixels, and it's gonna sacrifice some quality. Whereas you can see this method here allows me to shoot my full frame circular image and convert it into a rectangle that editors like. So now that the image is cleaned up, you can do all kinds of things to the tone and the highlights, whatever you want in Photoshop. Personally, I prefer Lightroom for this, so what I'll just do is do File Save or File Close. And then once I've done that, Photoshop will put this right back into my Lightroom catalog, right next to the original image that I was editing. So there you have it, with the original vignette, and then with all of the corrections. And then at this point, this is when I would mess with things like highlights, saturation, maybe put a vignette on it and make some other changes. So try these techniques on your fisheye lenses, especially if you have some distortion that you don't like, or maybe you got part of your lens shade or some corals in the corner. Try it on your images and let us know what you think. If you get any questions, just send us a note at icelight@icelight.com.